Hello everyone. Thank you for keeping up with Harris for the latest in China. I've always wanted to share more videos with you, but life has given me a little bit to tend to recently. July and August are the 2 months for the school kids to enjoy their school vacation. During that period, I had some work, the English tutoring sessions to give. That I did online. In the same time, my 2 children were at home. I spent time with them. Still in summer, I learned to swim in the river of the village. This is the 2nd summer in a row for me to learn swimming. Last summer, I taught myself to breathe in the water, and I was able to do the breaststroke. In this past summer, I picked up backstroke and worked on freestyle. Besides, I read some books as I like reading. Look, there's a sign here that says, "Be quiet in holding activities in a park. Tone down a bit and you will demonstrate civility." There are signs every here and there to talk about the code of civility. But like this one, they are to no avail. Later, you will see there's actually a kindergarten and a school in a close vicinity. This is a weekday. This video was taken on my recent visit to Shanghai about 9 or 8 days ago, right in the middle of October. It was quite a warm day, part of the second Indian summer periods of this autumn. As I'm now talking in front of the laptop, the weather is back on track of a normal autumn. I talked about what stopped me from making more videos. There were also some other matters. Like in the summer, some kids in the village were sent by their usually grandparents or occasionally parents to my home to study English with me. To those, I basically give my time for free. In exchange, which we didn't ask for, they always brought some pork or fish they bought, or sometimes more often the vegetables their families grew. You see here on my left, this is the entrance to a neighborhood. There are a row of residential buildings right here on the streets. Imagine you just need a rest for one reason or another, like you are sick, or if you are a baby, you just need profuse sleep. But take listen to the sound coming from the other side of the street. And always, what you can hear on the spot with your own ears can only be more lively than what you get in a video. Now there's the kindergarten on my left side. This video was taken around 2 o'clock p.m., which could be the nap time for the kids. Life in China, especially in a big city, is quite busy. There are always people and activities around you. And some of them, and actually many of them, are unnecessary to be in the way they are. In another video that I'm going to make, you will see just how dancing and singing in loud music just to come about into the depths of evening in a highly populated neighborhood area. Now we are seeing a school. It's a middle school. The location is in a suburb of Shanghai. Because in downtown Shanghai, it's hard to see a middle school with a playground in this scale. In China, kids have a lot of paperwork to do, both in and after school. A tremendously high proportion of them also have tutoring sessions one after another throughout the week. And these days they have some special patriotic education sessions, in addition to the education of traditional values based on Confucianism, both in and out of the school. Like on the bounding wall of the school of my children in the village, there are quotes from the ancient books about Confucianism. Where here we can see the posters telling stories in the spirit of xiao in Chinese, which means filial piety, the core value of Confucianism of Chinese. Let's go through the stories I took one by one. Cutting wood to remember parents. In Eastern Han Dynasty, in today's Henan province, north of the Yellow River, lived a man called Ding Lan. His parents died when he was still little. He missed his parents so much for their upbringing that he made two wooden effigies to resemble his parents. He observed the rituals and reported matters to the effigies dutifully and tirelessly. For example, he didn't eat a meal before a ceremony held in front of the effigies. After a while, his wife lost deference to the effigies. One day, out of curiosity, she used a needle to prick the finger of one effigy. Miraculously, the effigy bleeded on the finger. Dinglan came home and saw the tears coming out of the wooden effigy. He confirmed the case and divorced his wife. Abandoning officialdom to seek mother. In Song Dynasty, when Zhu Shouchang was 7 years old, his mother, for being envied against by her husband's number one wife, had to remarry. So for 50 years, Zhu Shouchang didn't hear from his mother. Later, he became an official. He bleeded himself in the finger to write an article in order to find his genetic mother. When he heard about the whereabouts of his mother, he gave up his post and swore that he would never come back without seeing his mother. Eventually, he got reunited with his mother and two brothers in a happy ending. At this moment, I happened to see this man. In passing the campus, he said to himself, "The future rests with children. We old people amount to nothing. We are just counting days. We live only for our children." Well, that's funny. To me, he popped up like a claptrap. Uninvited though. Here comes this famous one. Filial piety, moving heaven. The legendary emperor Shun lived in the distant past of Chinese civilization. It's said that his father, stepmother, and a half-brother set up traps many times to kill him. When Shun was repairing the ceiling of the barn, they set the barn on fire from below. Another time, when Shun was digging a well, his father and half-brother buried the well with mud. After all these, Shun bore no grudge. He kept his deference to father and benevolence to his half-brother. His deed of great filial piety moved an emperor in heaven, who exercised magic powers to help him. In one occasion among others, an elephant helped him till the land. Another famous emperor on earth called Yao heard of his stories and thought that his aptitudes could be applied to administration, and even decided to marry his two daughters to him. After watching and trying him for years, Emperor Yao appointed him his successor. After Shun's ascension to the throne, he visited his father as deferentially and dutifully, and appointed his half-brother a vassal. Jumping cups out of bubbling well. Jiang Shi, a Sichuanese in Eastern Han Dynasty, married a woman surnamed Pang. The couple were both pious to the old. They lived 3 kilometers away from the Yangtze River. Because her mother-in-law loved the water of the Yangtze River, Lady Pang often went to the Yangtze River to get water for her. As the mother enjoyed the fish, the couple often cooked the fish for her. Once, due to the heavy winds, Lady Pang got home late from her trip of getting water for the old lady. For that, her husband Jiang thought she slighted his mother, thus kicked her out of home. So Lady Pang had to live in her neighbor's home. She still worked hard to spin and sent her savings to her mother-in-law through her neighbor as a way of showing deference. Later, when mother-in-law knew about the case, she asked her son, Jiang, to get the lady back. On the day Lady Pang got home, the well in the yard suddenly began to gush with spring that tasted the same as the water in the Yangtze. Ever since, 2 cubs jumped out of the well every day. They no longer had to travel far to get the fish. This is another interesting one, feeding mosquitoes on your own blood. In Jing Dynasty, a man called Wu Meng was 8 years old. In summertime, in order for his father to have a good sleep, he lied naked next to his father, with his own body as the bait for mosquitoes, so that his father wouldn't be bothered. A man called Lao Laizi lived as a hermit in the state of Chu in the turmoils of spring and autumn period. He cooked his parents all delicacies. Even though he was in his 70s, he still wore colorful clothes, frolicked like a child with rattles, only to make his parents happy. Once he tripped when serving his parents water. For fear that his parents got sad, he simply lied on the ground, crying like a baby. Upon seeing that, the two old were in stitches. Lu Ji, a scientist in the Three Kingdoms period, in the state of Wu, in today's Songjiang district of Shanghai. When he was 6 years old, he traveled with his father to see an emergent, powerful, fierce man called Yuan Shu. Yuan Shu treated them with mandarin oranges, 2 of which were tucked away in the chest of Lu Ji. On leaving, the 2 mandarin oranges slipped off. Yuan Shu derided, and the young Lu Ji answered, "As my mother likes mandarins, I take some for her to taste." Yuan Shu was amazed by his deference to mother at such young age. Later, Lu Ji grew up and he became an erudite man, versed in astrology, calendars, and was the author of some classics. Zhenzi, in the spring and autumn period, was one of the favorite disciples of Confucius in the state of Lu. His family was poor, therefore he often cut woods in the mountain as a boy. One day some visitors called in on his family. His mother didn't know what to do. She could only bite her finger. Somehow Zhenzi felt the pain, knowing her mother was calling for him. He rushed home, came down on her knees, and asked. His mother explained the occasion. Zhenzi then received the guests and treated them in adequate manners. He was the author of some significant Confucian classics and is honored by later generations as a saint. Tasting the feces in sad mood. An official telepathized an anonymous matter of his family 10 days after he took the office. He immediately gave up his post and returned. At home, his father was badly ill. A doctor begged, "To know the going of the illness, you need to taste the feces. Tasting bitter will be fine." The official did, and they tasted sweet, which saddened him. At night he invoked towards the Big Dipper for dying on behalf of his father. Days later his father died and was buried. The official kept a 3-year vigil. Crying bamboo to grow shoots. Menzong's father died when he was young. He lived with his mother. His mother got sick. The doctor advised the treatment of fresh bamboo shoots. It was the depth of winter, no fresh bamboo shoots. There was nothing Menzong could do. He went to the bamboo grove alone. He cried and cried. Suddenly he heard the ground opening. Out of the cracks came some tender bamboo shoots. Overjoyed Menzong collected them and cooked them into soup. His mother was cured, and Menzong himself later became a high-level official in the state. Presenting dough milk to mother. Tanzi's parents were old, and they had eye problems, a condition requiring dough milk to treat. So Tanzi covered himself in the hide of a doe into the mountains. He camouflaged in a herd of does to get the milk. In one occasion, one hunter was about to shoot a barking deer. Tanzi unveiled himself from the hide and explained the situation. The moved hunter gave him some milk as gift and escorted him out of the mountains. Collecting mulberries in 2 utensils. Cai Shun lived in Han Dynasty. There was a famine that caused the food unaffordable. So Cai Shun and his mother fed on mulberries they collected. One day they ran into the Red Eyebrow Army, an uprising force. A soldier asked him roughly, "Why do you put the red and the black mulberries in 2 different baskets?" Cai Shun replied, "Black ones for my old mother, and red ones for myself." The Red Eyebrow Army empathized his sense of filial piety. They gave him 3 bushels of rice, 1 cattle, for him to take care of his mother, to show their respect. This one is much more acceptable. An emperor in Han Dynasty was pious to his mother. He tasted everything for her mother before she ate. Lying on ice for cups. Wang Xiang's mother died prematurely. His stepmother often badmouthed him in his father's face. So there was no love lost in between. As the luck would have it that way, his parents got some disease. Wang Xiang slept with his clothes on to wait on them. When his stepmother was hungry for cups, even in winter, he undressed and lied on ice. Suddenly the ice under melted, and 2 cups jumped out. After having the cups, his stepmother healed. Wang Xiang lived in seclusion for over 20 years, and he later became a minister. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. What do you think about the stories? These stories, together with some others that I haven't talked about today, are collectively known as the 24 episodes of filial piety. They are popular